Hi, I'm Nick Shepner. I'm a sophomore here at UNCG. I'm currently a double major in psychology and women and gender studies. I'm looking to add social work as a third major. I know it's a bit ambitious, but I'm only 2 credits shy of finishing my women and gender studies degree, so I think it's pretty feasible. Social work would allow me to get a BS degree instead of just a BA in psychology, which would make me much more competitive in the workforce. And with almost 2,000 kids in our school alone studying psychology, I'm gonna need as much of an advantage as I can get. Social work would also open up a lot of different opportunities for me once I graduate. But ultimately, I want to be a clinical therapist. I'm hoping to work with adolescents who are struggling with their sexuality or gender identity disorders. You see, in high school, I founded a GSA, that's a Gay Straight Alliance, and that was probably my biggest accomplishment to date. I lived in a very conservative, wealthy part of Charlotte, and the school was less than enthusiastic about having to get organization start. I actually had to get an attorney from the ACLU file a lawsuit against the school before they would found the GSA. But once they did, I had some really incredible experiences. There were about 65 kids in the club, and I got a chance to sit down and get to know all of them and to talk about problems they were having with their parents or their partners, just all the things that were going on in their life. And working with all these kids, I realized that that's what I want to do with my life. I want to be able to go into work and leave knowing that I made a difference, that I'm helping someone become happier and more well-adjusted, that these people know that they really matter to somebody and that they can be happy with their lives. And I can't imagine doing anything else with my life. That's why being a therapist is my ultimate goal. And since this is a communications class, I can segue into, I just like that communication. I like to be able to sit down and talk to someone face to face, and it's just so much more dynamic. You can feel the emotion in their voice, you can see it in their eyes. You're so much more open-minded when you have someone in front of you that you can talk to and bounce ideas back and forth, and a conversation can grow instead of just being one-sided when you're blogging or texting or emailing. It's just something that allows you both to come together and create a new dialogue instead of just hearing each other. You get to work together to advance the conversation. Being in the GSA and founding it, I was president, and it was my first big opportunity for a leadership position. And I have to admit, I was a little lacking. I was really motivated, and I did a lot of really cool programs and things like that, but I was admittedly a total micromanager. I wouldn't let other people do the jobs they needed to do because I wasn't sure they'd do it right. But through that and last year working in UNCG's Pride, I got a lot better about helping to distribute power and trust in other people and trust them to do what they need to make sure that we're all successful. I think that's becoming one of my strengths, learning to share with other people and being very trusting. I think that trust and patience is something that I have gotten really good at, and I think that's one of my biggest strengths, is I know I can rely on all of my friends, and when I meet a new person, you don't have to earn my trust. It's more like you have to do something to mess it up. And although sometimes that gets me into trouble, I think it's a really nice thing, and I think of it as a strength because it lets me open up and share with so many people, because I just love to meet new people and be a part of their life and have new people join my life. I do have a couple of weaknesses though, one being technology. It actually took me about 2 hours to get this video, and by that I mean it took me 2 hours of struggling, fussing with my computer and camera and then finally asking my friend Justin to do it for me. And that's the only reason I got this posted now. I'm also terrible with directions, both following them and geographically. Between you and me, I still have a map of campus, and I'm still getting lost. I got lost my first week trying to get to my classes like 3 times. I'm just not directionally inclined. It's really not my strong suit. But I do what I can, and I've gotten better about asking for help and directions. I can't do the machismo, I'm gonna find out where I am, because I never will. And at least I've learned that about myself. But I'm taking this class because, like my Women and Gender Studies degree, I want to be able to learn about other people. I want to see the world from different perspectives. I think it's really important because I grew up in a rural town in South Carolina, the type with 2 stoplights and everyone knows everybody. I want to learn what it's like from other people's point of views, what it's like to grow up in different areas or to grow up in a different class or background or ethnicity, to see how other people experience life. It's just something that I find really interesting, and I think more people should understand how to live in other people's viewpoints. And I think it's something that's important as a counselor, because who am I to sit there and try and give advice to my patients if I haven't done the work to try and understand where they're coming from? I'm hoping this class will help me to get a better perspective on how people try and win over in arguments, how people try and convey their ideas, because I want to be better at conveying myself. I feel like I'm pretty good at public speaking. I feel like I'm fairly well spoken, but I want to be able to convey my emotions better, to convey myself, to sway people's minds. And I'll also admit that I'm a total sucker for persuasion. I can't watch an infomercial without trying to call in and order it. I have a magic bullet and a half a dozen of those fancy knives and aluminum wallets and things. I will admit, anytime, Billy Mays comes on TV, I'm wanting to buy whatever he's selling me. I'm hoping this class will also teach me to catch on to their tricks and not fall prey to them so often, because my bank account isn't really liking it too much. But that's a little bit about me, and I hope that we get to know each other a little better throughout the year, or at least throughout the semester. And I hope you feel free to, talk to me whenever you need a chance or to ask me anything you're curious about. And thank you so much for your time.